welcome back to my podcast, Real Life Journey, with me, Talia. I have been off the grind of making these because I've been very lazy and I just have not been wanting to do them. Um, Sorry, not sorry. I've also been really busy. I just got a new job, so I've been working a lot lately. So I really actually haven't had time on my hands to be making these, but I will try my best. I make no promises, but I will try my best. Anyways, like I said, I got a new job. My watch is going off. Uh, Nothing important. Um, but I got a new job, and no hate to my old job, but like this one is much more my speed and much more just the like I don't know, it's just the environment is very better. I guess I like it a lot more than my old job, and I'm also like, there's always something happening. I'm not like looking at the same screen every day. I'm not listening to the same music every day. I'm not, you know, dealing with all that kind of stuff every day. Like at this new job, there's always like every day something's different. There's always something going on. I mean, it's like the same stuff, but it's always like something new. Like Tuesdays we have trivia night, and there's the questions are always something like how would anybody know this to okay, this is more like people would know. Wednesdays karaoke, listening to drunk people sing, definitely something. And then we have live music, but it's always like different people singing. So it's like, much better, I'd say for me. At least I just love experiencing new things all the time. And one of like the managers, he works in the place, but not like in the place I work at. He's just, one of the heads of something. I forgot what. He was asking me to tell him a fun fact about myself, and I was like, I've never been on a boat. And then my manager was like, "You've never been on a boat?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, we could put on one of the jet skis." And I was like, "I've never been on one of those either. Never been on a boat, never been on a jet ski. What can I say? Lived in Florida for 9 years. Never been on one of these things. I don't know." Um, Also, one of the days I was leaving work, I was on the phone trying to call my mom, and some dude comes up to me asking if I'm single or whatever, and he's like asking for my Instagram and Snapchat, and I was like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, well, I appreciate your honesty. Have a good day. And I was like, you too. And he was like, hey, just so you know, you never know when you're gonna meet your future husband. I was like, yeah, I guess so, but it's not gonna be you. My standards are very high when it comes to the men I want, the man I want, not men, man I want. Gosh, brain. It's the man I want and who I want my like future husband to be. Standards are very high, so I'm not settling for anything less. You know, like one thing I will say is I don't want somebody who smokes pot. Because I don't smoke pot anymore. So I don't want somebody who smokes pot. I also don't want someone who vapes either. Because I'm trying to lay off that as well. Like, trying to stop this. Just be healthier, have a healthier life, I don't know, healthier mindset, healthier life, all that kind of stuff. And I also think to myself, I'm like, okay, what is tying me to my past in a way? And all of these like smoking habits I have like tie me to my past, and it just doesn't make me feel good about myself. So to not be tied to my past, I have to quit these habits that I have. And that's what I want to do with myself and my life, and to be better, be healthier, and all of that kind of stuff. So, to do that, I have to quit things that I used to do. My habits have changed, my lifestyle has changed, but there are just some things that have not changed that I feel like still connect me to the person I'm not anymore. And that's okay. And maybe people too, you know. I've cut out some people in my life who just don't have a purpose in my life anymore. They don't have the value they once held. So I've, just cut them out. Like I don't want this cycle to be repeating itself because you're still stuck in a mindset that I'm not stuck in anymore. Like I don't, like if you have a perception of me and who I am as a person, that's your perception of the person you used to know. And that's fine. But that's not me anymore. And it's the same thing with people who I'm not friends with or who are not in my life anymore. I have a perception of them, but they're probably not like that anymore. They're not that person. So I can't be over here hating or judging on a person because of what they did to me or because of how they acted when I knew them. Because we all change over time, we all grow up. We're all fucking 20 years old. Like, we're not these kids in high school anymore. And I think that's what a lot of people have a hard time realizing is that you grow up. You grow to be a person, and you're not gonna be the same person you were when you were in high school. Like, oh, that's what that is. I was like, what is that? It's a pimple on my face. Anyways, um, like, you know, I don't really care how people perceived me in high school. Personally, not anymore. Because that's not me. That's not me anymore. I'm not that person. So why should I care what kind of picture you have of me as a person when you don't know me? You don't know what I've been through. You don't know the struggles I've had and anything like that. Like, I want to say a lot of people like to view me and see my household and be like, well, she was given everything to her. I was not. I was never given one single thing. Everything I have, I worked for it. Everything I own, I worked for it. I was never given anything. I always worked towards what I wanted, and because I worked hard enough, I got it. And I feel like a lot of people have different perspectives on that kind of stuff. They're like, well, I've worked towards this and I got it because I did it myself. Nobody had to get it for me. And that's you. Like I work towards things because my parents taught me to do that. They were like, if you want something, you have to work for it or you're never going to get it. And I used to never understand that until a lot recently, especially with getting this new job. I worked for this job. I did it myself. Nobody handed it to me. Nobody put in a good word for me. No, I did it myself and I got the job because I impressed the manager. I impressed the hiring up manager, you know? And and kudos to me for doing that. And I'm now happy where I am. I'm not stuck in a miserable place. Not to say that Dave and Buster's is miserable. The work environment just is not, it's not for me personally. Everybody has their own version of a work environment that they like to enjoy. Just for me, standing at that host stand, it nothing clicked anymore. I was just content. And I don't like being content because then there's nothing for me to improve on. I always like to improve and work myself up. And at this new job, I have opportunities to do that. I have opportunities to improve and work my way up. I can do different things every day. I don't have to stand there and do the same thing every day. There's always something I can go and do. I can go clean a table if I need to. I can go put together tables for a party. I can, go and stand at the host stand and do my job while also being able to actually talk to people and people actually wanting to talk to me. Because at Dave and Buster's, people didn't really want to talk to the hostesses. If you weren't really friends with them in the beginning, they're not gonna want to talk to you. But like people at the place I work at now actually come up to the host stand and talk to me, even though they're not really like my friends. They'll still actually like come and talk to me and have a conversation. And that's what I enjoy because it actually helps me get out of my shell Because I'm very much a introverted person. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't really like talking to people. But being at this job, I'm very much more extroverted. I'm very more talkative and wanting to actually have conversations with people. I still overthink a lot, thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Now they're going to think about me in a different way. But then I reality check myself and I'm like, well, you said it. Who cares what they're going to think? If they don't like what you said, then they're not going to talk to you anymore. And most of the time, they still talk to me and whatnot. And I've gone out with some of my coworkers and we've gone out to like clubs and stuff like that. And I've had a good time. I've actually enjoyed going out with these people. And I'm not feeling like I'm just there because they feel bad, you know? Because with like some people I would hang out with, even some of my friends, I feel like I was a pity invite. They only invited me because they felt bad because I wasn't invited the last time. Or because they did something without me beforehand, so they invited me because they felt bad that I wasn't included. And I don't want that. I don't want to be a pity invite. I want to be invited because you actually want me there. And I feel like that's a normal thing to ask for. I don't know. Like if I'm sitting at a table, I don't want to be sitting at a table where I feel like I have to be tolerated. I want to sit at a table where I feel like I can be celebrated. You know? I stole that from Love Island Beyond the Villa. But anyways, but it's true. You know, you don't want to sit at a table with people where they have to tolerate you. You want to sit at a table with people who will celebrate with you, who will celebrate you as a person, you know? Like, I'm almost fucking 20 years old. People don't believe that, apparently. I don't. Like, I was at my work and somebody asked me, someone else was like, oh, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 19. They're like, you're 19? I didn't think you were 19. Over here, I'm like, how old did you think I was? I wish I was old enough to drink, but I'm not. But it's fine. Just chill. Because, yeah. Um, but no, it's just like, there's so many things in life that I want to value, and I want to value myself. I don't want people to sit here and look at me and be like, well, I feel bad for her. It's like, don't feel bad for me. Like, I'll get over it, babe. I don't know. Like, I'll get over it. I have a life. I have friends. Like, I don't need you in my life. If you don't want to be in my life, you don't have to be in my life. That's the one thing I preach on, is that if you do not want me in your life, then don't have me in your life. Don't feel bad feeling like you have to keep me in your life, because it doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel like, well, why am I still friends with you if you're not even actually going to talk to me? Why am I still in your life if you don't even actually want me in your life? Like, just be like, hey, I don't really think we should be friends anymore. I'll be like, cool, that's fine, and go on with my day. I'm not going to sit, pity, and cry about it, because I have other things to do. You know, I have other things to focus on in my life. I have goals for myself, and I have a career I want for myself. And if I feel like you're not valuing that, then you're not going to be in my life, because I have a very clear picture of how I want my life to go and who I want in my life for that picture. If you do not fit that criteria, then you don't fit the criteria, and that's not on me. That's just like how I feel. And sorry, not sorry. I like, that sounds really mean to say, but it's the truth. Like, I have a very clear vision of what I want for myself. And it took me a long time to have this vision become clearer in my mind. But now that I have it, I want to work towards it and be the best version of myself I can be for this goal, for whatever. You know, I have, like, what I want for myself, what money I want to have in my life, where I want my life to take me. And the more I work towards that, the more it'll come to me. The more I try and, I guess, manifest it, the more good things will happen, bad things will happen, but good things will come of the bad things that happened. I used to think, like, why are all these bad things happening to me? I'm such a, like, I've done all these things, well, why does this keep happening? It happens because you have, it's like your life is like a road, right? One wrong turn and everything can blow up in your face, right? And you have situations that happen in your life that put you on that road. You can either learn from the situation and grow from the situation, or you can let the situation consume you and drag you down. You can let this scenario where you're in a position where the universe puts in front of you, and you can either stay where you are and make it better, or you pick the wrong version and you have to regrow. And I've done that a lot. I've had situations in my life where it was brought upon me to make the decision, and sometimes I made the wrong decision and I messed up some things in my life. But then I go and think about it and I'm like, okay, well, I picked this. Why did I pick it? There had to have been a reason I picked it, to see now where my life is, because if I didn't pick this situation, how would my life be now? How would I be as a person now? Would I still be in the same situation? Would I still be in the same environment? Because in the long run, it's this, like, what is it? In the long run, the same thing's gonna happen, just in a different font, basically. Like, you're in a situation and you can pick the right thing at that time, but in the long run, it's still gonna end. Nothing's ever gonna stay forever. Nothing's supposed to stay forever. Everything's supposed to be temporary. And that's one thing I realized. Some things can be long term, but it's never gonna stay forever. Because that's just how life is. Nothing stays forever. Everything's long term, but then you die. So it's never forever, it's just long term. It can either be long term or short term. It just depends on how you want your life to go. But never be codependent on something, and never try and have other people dictate your life for you. I used to do that. I used to always, like, the way someone else would be, I would be. The way someone else would be acting or dressing, I would be acting and dressing. And I realized that that's not even me at that point. Like, that's not me. Like, who am I as a person? Who is Talia? Because that's not Talia. That's just another form of that person. So who am I? Like, and I finally have been able to realize who I am. Instead of letting people dictate how my future is supposed to go and how I'm supposed to act, I put myself first and dictate my future and how I'm supposed to act and how I'm supposed to dress, how I'm supposed to be in life. And I finally found myself, and the person I am is such a light. It took me a long time to re-find myself, to regain that confidence I once had. And yes, I will admit, there are days where I'm miserable and I don't want to do anything and I'm sad. But I pick myself up and I still do it because I'm like, well, you only have one chance. You only have one chance at life. You don't get a second one, you don't get a third one, you don't get a fourth one. You only have one chance at life. So either you take it or you can throw it all away and be miserable for the rest of your life. That's up to you. I take every opportunity that's come my way. Any opportunity that has come my way, I've taken it. Except if they're bad. If they're bad opportunities, I leave it there. But if they're like good opportunities, take it. You never know what's gonna be on the other side. Because the grass is always greener the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but sometimes the grass is always greener on the other side. It really just depends on how you look at it and how you take the situation and how you view it in your eyes. And for me, I always feel like the grass is always greener on the other side now because of how I've lived. I've been in the situations where the grass wasn't always greener, where the grass was just dirt and it wasn't grass at all. But I took those opportunities and I took myself in those situations to now see what I can do to be better if something like that happens again in a different font. Because you can be in the same situation, but it's just in a different font. It's with different people. It's a new chapter of your life. And that's one thing. Also, another thing, people keep coming back from my past, and I'm not happy about it. Certain people, I don't mind. But it's mainly the guys from my past. Like, if you, like, some guy I talked to texted me being like, I know we haven't talked in a while, but I was wondering if you wanted to go back out. No, I don't, because I'm not going backwards. I'm moving forwards. Why do I want you back in my life? There was this other guy who hit me up and he was like, Do you remember me? Yeah, I remember you, but I don't care to talk to you. And that's my thing. It's like, I don't care for you anymore. You don't have a place in my life, so I do not have to care for you anymore. There are only a very handful of people who are not in my life who I still care for in some way, but the care is not as strong as it used to be. You know? Like, yeah, like a very small handful of people who I still like wish them the best. I, want you to live your life. I want you to be happy. But then there's these other group of people who I could care less about. Like you didn't value. You were a lesson for me to learn to be the person I am today, so I don't want you back in my life. Like, you were in the past for a reason. Stay in the past. Your chapter, your pages have been flipped over multiple times. Like, I don't need you in my life. And you're coming back into my life because your life is shitty. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they're trying to hit me up, but I'm not fucking with it. The sauce is not saucing. The groove is not grooving. It is just not. It's not it. Um, I want to have, like, what's the word? I want to have just, like, better people in my life, I guess. That sounds really horrible to say, but also, you gotta look at where people are at in their lives and how much they've changed from high school, right? Like, I graduated 2 years ago, and I look back at myself and who I was in high school, and I don't recognize myself. Not to say I don't look similar or look the same. It's more my actions, the way I'm speaking, the way I'm around these people who aren't even in my life anymore, who I don't talk to anymore. I look back at it and I'm disappointed in myself, you know? Like I don't really care about who's in the video or who I'm like recording or whatever. I'm just disappointed in the way I let myself get like that. I let myself get to a place that I never wanted to get to. I let myself do things that I never wanted to do. And I'm grateful for those people to be who are in my life because they taught me something. that I needed to learn about myself, but I'm also just disappointed in myself for letting it get to that point. You know, like I've done things I'm not proud of. I've done things that I am proud of. It's like a 50-50, shot when it comes to that kind of stuff. Most of the time, I'm now very proud of the things I do and the things I've been doing, but back then I look at it and I'm like, well, why did I do that? That wasn't really smart. I was dumb and naive. I didn't know better, I didn't have time to sit back and realize that, oh, this is wrong. This isn't right. I shouldn't be doing this. I didn't have time to realize any of that. But now that I'm at a place in my life, I have time to realize those things and to sit back and be like, okay, this isn't right. I shouldn't be doing this. You need to be better. And the only way to be better is to learn from your situation and grow from the situation. Because if you can't learn from it or grow from it, you're never gonna change. You're always gonna be the same person. Like, it's always gonna be the same outcome because you're never growing. You're letting the same people take advantage of you. You're letting the same people use you. And that's not okay. Don't let that happen. Be you. Don't be someone else. Be who you want to be and don't give a fuck about what anyone else thinks. Because every time you try and care about people's opinions, it's always gonna be downhill and it's always gonna go down ship because you're caring too much about other people and you're not caring enough about yourself, so then you're not taking care of yourself the way you should be taking care of yourself. And it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be how you want it to be. It's not gonna go how you want it to go. And that's one thing I've realized with life and time and experiences and all that kind of stuff, that if I keep letting these people in my life and do the things that they're doing, I'm never going to be enough for myself. I'm never going to be content with who I am as a person, and I'm never going to want to do anything. And I'm always going to want to just drown in my sorrows and smoke my pain away and do all of these things. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to uplift myself and not be smoking weed just because I'm sad and I don't want to feel any pain. Like, let me feel that pain. Let me feel that anger. Let me feel that sadness. So I know I'm a human. So I know I'm an actual person. And I'm not a robot. Because at the end of the day, me smoking weed, I always felt like I was just a robot. And I was just like, every day was just another day. No, every day is a new day. Every day is a day to reinvent yourself, to better yourself, to become the person that you want to be. And it's not just another day. It's a new day to be a new person, to be a better person. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode and enjoyed my lovely rants about whatever. I hopefully will be a little bit more consistent with this kind of stuff in the near future. Again, please subscribe, look in the description, and follow all of my socials. Peace, love, and happiness. Yeah.